to NASCAR Wire. You said last week was a learning experience. Was there anything that you learned at Chicago that you used to win the race today?
Yeah, I learned about Shane as a driver and how he races, and I definitely used that to help me make moves today. Blocking his runs and what it may be. I learned what runs he takes when he's pushing and how he saves his tires. The first 5 to 7 laps of a run there, he kind of would set the pace, and then when I got out front, I set the pace, and tires made a bigger difference than you'd expect with how new the asphalt is. So we would run very easy for 5 to 7 laps, and that's probably why it looked like the kind of rest of the field was hanging with us. And then when we wanted to go, we would go and leave them. So we were kind of just playing a little bit of cat and mouse with each other. But that last run was very tough. We were both pushing to the limit, and it took a lot of focus to keep him behind me.
And speaking of being out front, your pit crew got you out in the lead twice on your 2 pit stops. How important was that? And how important was it to control the restart there for the last run there?
Yeah, the second one I was leading, and we kept the lead and was able to keep the lead. But the first pit stop, my pit crew did an awesome job to get me the lead, and that kind of got us a little bit of space in stage 2. He still got by me after that, and I was able to kind of get behind him and learn a little bit more. And then I was able to get back by him at the end of stage 2 once his tires fell off a little bit. So it was a lot about managing, more than I expected today, and definitely added a piece to the race that we didn't expect, but it made it a lot harder on the drivers too. We were struggling out there. It didn't have a lot of grip, and at the end of that 30-lap run there at the end of the race, we were hanging on to it. So it was a lot of fun. Shane's a great road racer, and a great friend of mine too, and someone who helps me a lot and helps all of our Trackhouse teammates. Pushes us to be better. So I'm excited to race against him again at Watkins Glen, and hopefully get to learn a little bit more.
Go next to Jordan, then on the way back to Zach.
Jordan Bianchi, The Athletic. If he's not your teammate, does he race you differently, do you think, and the outcome is maybe different?
I think Shane's I said it last week, what he did wasn't dirty. There was 2 laps to go, and he's going to take the chance to win the race, and I think maybe some guys he might race differently, but I think if you show him respect, and I feel like I did for the majority of the race, then he's going to show you respect back, and he's just a racer, and that's the way it is. So I think if someone were to put an aggressive move on him, he might put an aggressive move back, but if you show him respect, he's going to show you respect back. And it was cool under all the cautions and stuff. We were giving each other signals, and it's cool to have a friend like him that I can race against and learn from, and then talk to after the race and say, hey, what were you doing here? What were you doing there? How long were you saving for? When did you go? Those kinds of things. So we learned from each other, and he kind of let me by there in stage 2 to get behind me, and was probably trying to figure out where I was a little bit better. I kind of beat him on the second half of the track when I was behind him, and he would beat me a little bit through 2 and 3, but it was very close. We were very similar on speed, and that made it really tough to pass, and that's why I thought that control on the restart was going to be really important.
With all the talk about how SVG is unbeatable on road courses, Mexico City, Chicago, qualifying yesterday, today, beating him today, does that give you extra satisfaction?
I knew I could do it all along. It was just a matter of doing it and executing and doing my job. And I knew you have to be perfect to beat the guy. He's really good. And I commend him for that. And I look up to him as a driver and a person. The person he is, he's such a good guy. And, to get to race against him and learn from him at my age is so valuable for me. So, whether I beat him or not doesn't really affect much. Yeah, it feels good, but I know that I can race against a guy like him, and it's just fun getting to do it. I really enjoy it, and it pushes me to be better, and I hope I can push him to be better too.
How does an 18-year-old celebrate in wine country when they can't legally drink?
I'm sticky right now from drinking apple juice in Victory Lane. So we celebrate with sparkling apple juice and get very sicky and avoid a headache. So I guess that's the positive of it.
Well, we're going to go to Zach and then to Tom.
Zach Sturdiolo, NASCAR.com. Connor, 2 questions. First and foremost, you mentioned the relationship with Shane. You said going in on that last lap on turn 7, he wheel hopped and nudged you and kind of let you gather it back up because he didn't want to get it that way, and then tried to do the crossover rather than moving you out of the way. Did you tell that he was trying to take care of you and race you clean there in those closing laps?
Yeah, he shoved me into 4, I think it was, and then, got close to me in 7, and I went to block and just kind of, we were all the way down at the bottom, had no angle, and, I don't think I really will hop too bad, but, I definitely was over driving the corner and had to do that to keep him behind me, and he did, because, he knew he hit me in 4, and that's the reason he got a chance at me at 7, so, I think he wanted to pass me fairly, and I don't think that's the way he wanted to do it, which I really do respect. I mean, it takes a lot for a guy to do that, and for him to do that shows a lot about the driver and person he is, and that's kind of what I expected last week, but that this is what I got this week. So I think he knew what he did last week, and probably didn't want to have to do the same thing again to win the race. So he was going to do it fair and square, and I respect that from him.
Yeah. Did you guys have any conversations after the way the last week's race went, especially knowing that you guys were going to be racing each other in this series again this week?
No, I didn't have anything to say. What he did wasn't dirty, and I just, we joked about it. We walked in the elevator together after the race, actually, and, we joked about it, and I said, I'll get you back next week, and I think we both have an equal amount of respect for each other. We were teammates in the 24. We spent 2 weeks together. I learned a lot from him there, and got to know him very well there, and I wouldn't want to beat him. I wouldn't want to beat him in that way, and he wouldn't want to beat me in that way either. So I'm glad we got to race it out the way we did, and I respect the hell out of the guy. He's such a good dude and a good friend of mine. So I'm looking forward to hopefully racing against him for a long time. I don't know how many years he's got in him. He's already got a full career behind him, but I'm going to enjoy these years that I can race against him while I can.
Major channel announcement. Do you love NASCAR coverage? Well, as part of Frontstretch building its platform, we're now offering an option for paid subscribers. For just $3.99 a month, you'll be rewarded with exclusive content you can't find anywhere else. Beyond the cockpit interviews as soon as they drop. More of the pit road and bullpen weekend content that keeps you coming back to see the who's who of NASCAR explain all of their on and off track conduct. We'll even be doing some Where Are They Now pieces, taking a look at former drivers and owners that made an impact on the sport. Want more direct contact with your favorite Frontstretch reporters? No problem. We'll give you a chance to communicate directly with monthly Q&As. Your questions are what drives us to find answers. That's why we're here. The best seat at the track and the best view on the net for all of your quality motorsports coverage. Come take the green flag with us.